How's it going? It's David again. So I know we're all bored. We're all stuck inside. We're all quarantined right now. So just thought I'd leave you all a little video, something y'all could enjoy. So I'm gonna do another glove review video, and this one's about a brand from Mexico named Necalli. So basically, Necalli is this Mexican brand of Mexican boxing equipment that's been making stuff for about almost a century now. They were formed back in the 1920s, so they've been in business a long time. They certainly know what they're doing. You know, Now some people, now you may be wondering, well, never heard of them. Well, there's a reason for that, and I'll probably go into that one a little bit later. So anyway, as you can tell, they've definitely been around for a long, long time. I mean, just look at the way that their gloves are made, like the texture of the leather, the stitching, the look of the glove. I mean, it definitely looks. I mean, just this alone, all this stuff, like like the way that the laces are, everything, just kind of looks like something that was made way back in the day. This kind of looks like it was, like something that could have been worn by Mexican boxing legends like Carlos Zarate, Ruben Olivares, Salvador Sanchez. All these legends and all that. It definitely has that that Mexican style of boxing, Mexican style of boxing craftsmanship. Like that little rolled up stuff over here. I don't know how well that shows. Like that little, like this little something right here, like the way it's almost like kind of rolled up, almost here at the top. Don't know how well that shows. And I can see it here, kind of see it here and here. And as you can tell, it's made with 100%, real leather, as you can tell by the wrinkles. Oh, there you go. So you can see that little rolled up stuff right here, this whole thing, all that. That's one of the trademarks. Because basically it's made for, Mexican gloves are basically made, so you can land, to land a certain way. And so that's how you're getting a real one here with Necalli. Because they all have, again, has that typical Mexican glove design, that puncher's glove design for power transfer. It's basically made to impact, so you can, in a way that you can actually land and wail away and use your full power when punching with these. And one thing that I kind of like about Necalli, it's probably the most protective Mexican boxing glove you'll find anywhere. Seriously, like you can feel almost nothing on your knuckles when you're hitting with these things. So if you have it, and for anybody that has hand issues, you're definitely going to want to give these a try, because again, like I said, they use pretty solid and dense, pretty good solid and dense latex foam on the inside. So, it's like very, very good, very protective, very stiff. If you like that kind of thing, if you don't like it, you probably might not care for it too much. Definitely very supportive around the wrist. As you can see, like around here, this was part of what's here was filled up with cotton. All this here, basically, all that there and all that, basically filled up with cotton, so that the laces here could kind of like go into it. As you can see, a little, I don't know if you can see it, but I guess after some use, you can start seeing like, that the laces kind of dig into that, so you can get some really good wrist protection, so you can get some good wrist support. And just like a lot of other Mexican gloves, it's definitely very stiff, very, very stiff on the wrist too. Because I mean, basically, it's made, these Mexican boxing gloves are made in a way to almost kind of like force that fist. So Necalli definitely fits that standard of Mexican equipment. Again, very stiff, very supportive. If you don't like the stiffness, you might not like Necalli. If you like that stiffness, if you like that extra support, definitely give it a try. One thing to notice is that Necalli could run a little lighter than listed, because I know it's listed as a 16, at 16, as listed as a 16 ounce. But one thing about Mexican gloves is that they tend to run a little lighter or a little heavier than listed. So you might get something a little smaller than originally listed. I mean, this one actually, when you hold it and feel it, this one actually feels a little lighter than 16s. So yeah, if yours runs a little lighter and you're a bigger guy like me, you might not want to use this for sparring, because not a lot of people are going to want you using a smaller glove that's made for power transfer on them. However, if yours runs a little heavier, if it happens to run at just the right weight, whatever the deal may be sure to use your common sense when when sparring with Necalli, when trying to spar with Necalli. Some people can spar with them, and like I said, I wouldn't do it because I'm a bigger guy, and these things are made for power transfer, and I'm definitely not going to make a lot of friends with these on. But you know, if you're smaller, you're a little lighter, or if you have a pair of gloves, a Necalli that happen to be running at a good weight, then then feel free to use those for sparring, because you know this one's actually Necalli's actually a little softer than a lot of other Mexican gloves. It's still dense, but you know, however, the padding is actually, you know, on the outside is actually a little softer than most Mexican gloves, so you can still use it for sparring if you happen to be on the lighter side, or whatever, you know, any of the other stuff that I said before. You know, you know, like I said, so you might be like, well, haven't I heard of it? Well, Necalli used to go by a different name, by the name of Casanova, but then they found themselves in a trademark dispute after their trademark expired here in the States. Some other American company took the name Casanova. They found themselves in a court battle, and the American company won. So now you have Necalli. And then, well, it used to be a much bigger company, but what happened was, before the trademark dispute and all that, Casanova ended up being banned here in the States because they didn't have that thumb attachment that you see here, like that little, you know, that little sucker there that's kind of attaching the thumb to the rest of the glove. Casanova did not have that back in the day, and their padding was thinner than it is now. So that's what happened, and that's why they're under a completely different name. Just a little bit of fun history and trivia there. So overall, this is a pretty good glove. I'd give it like an 8.9 out of 10. It's definitely close. The only reason I wouldn't go any higher is, like I said earlier, because of the weight issues. Sometimes they run a little heavier, sometimes they run a little lighter, sometimes you might get something much lighter than what you wanted. And, you know, like if you're a bigger guy like me, you're definitely not going to want to be wearing, you know, something that ends up weighing 12 ounces rather than 16, because there's a reason that, you know, gloves are weighed. There's, for the protective factor of a boxing glove, it's supposed to weigh how much it weighs for a reason. You know, and the fact that there are other gloves that are definitely more protective than this one. Don't get me wrong, this one's super protective, and you really don't feel much of anything on your knuckles. You really don't. It's just, I guess there are other gloves that are a little softer and a little less stiff. Although I'll admit, I don't mind the wrist support. I'm not picky. I'm not gonna make a big deal out of the support. I actually kind of like the wrist protection. Definitely has much better wrist support than a whole lot of other gloves. But I mean by stiffness, as far as, you know, the stiffness of the padding and all that, you know, that's just me. Some people like gloves that are a little softer, like the Winning style, you know, Winning clones, or even Winning itself, whatever. And I guess I just happen to prefer those protective style gloves. But like I said, if you prefer something that's a little more Mexican style, something a little more, you know, that has a lot more power transfer, I'd say go with these. Again, I still like these just because you get to wail away, and you can definitely feel what the heck you're dishing out on the bag. These are definitely a lot of fun on the mitts, a lot of fun on the bags, definitely, for sure. I do recommend these. These are still good gloves. These are still something I'd strongly recommend. These are amazing. So if you want that, and you like, you know, you want to be able to wail away with full power while still getting some good hand protection, definitely give these guys a try. Hope to see you next time. Have a good one.